Students, this is the fourth video for the virtual component from the November 27th class. So really picking right up where we left off. We demoed iterate features last time, and what it did, if we open sort of the iterate features demo, super simple concept here, in that it iterated through this folder called crime months that had 4 different shapefiles, and it passed each of them one at a time through kernel density and then output into my geodatabase 4 separate rasters for each of them. So the purpose of that is anytime you want to run the same operation, the same tool, to many, many different features that exist in sort of a workspace, geodatabase, or a folder, you would use that. What we're going to do now is pretty similar, but a little bit different. And in this one, it's almost like what we're going to do is we're going to open crime sample, and you notice you have this field here called short type. And if I were to just demonstrate by going to select by attribute, and I were to say where short type is equal to assaults, it's going to select out the 2,099 assaults that occurred in this sort of part of Philadelphia at this time. And what I would do normally is I would take this and I would pass it through kernel density, and because these 2,099 records are selected, only they would run through kernel density. So essentially I'd be getting a density of assault crimes. And then if I wanted to do the same thing with burglary and homicide and robbery and theft and anything else I had, I would just have to rerun the select and rerun kernel and rerun the select and rerun kernel. And yeah, that's not too exhaustive for 6, but it's annoying. But imagine if I had like 100 crime types. You want to do this 100 times? Wouldn't it be so much easier if you could just build a tool that almost like does the selecting behind the scenes for you? And that's called iterate feature selection. So that's what we'll do here. We'll come to our model. We'll build a new model. We'll call it edit feature select. So iterate feature select demo. I'll open it up. And we're going to run it, pretty much the same as we did previously. Drag in an iterator, except here I'm going to iterate the features. Right? So I'm going to run through all the different features in a shapefile. Just like we did last time, it's going to want to know, where am I pulling this from? So I'm saying, hey, you're coming from crime sample, right? Because that's where I'm pulling it from. And this wants to know what's the field, right? What is that field that I'm essentially almost performing a select by attribute to? And it's going to be the short type field. So now, same thing before. It's pulling from crime sample. Same way as in our last video, when we populated the iterator, it had this little holding container called name, and that name stored the name of each of the shapefiles it iterated through. Now this is going to store a different value that it finds in this table. So assault, burglary, so on and so forth. So the same concept that we did previously, we're just going to use this to our advantage when we pass it through kernel density. To make sure that we don't overwrite our outputs sort of each time. So we'll come up here and we'll load kernel density back in. Oh, did the thing again. I did too many clicks. Kernel density. We'll drag this in. Pick our same values as last time. I'm going to make it 25 as our shapefile. 1,000 shape radius. And same thing as before. I'm cool saving it in my geodatabase, but let's call it %value%. And really what we're ensuring here is by doing %value%, it's going to pass along the sort of the value name from this container. So now if I add it to display and I save it and we run it, it literally, if you can envision it behind the scenes, like a selection is happening. And each time it does sort of a selection, it's running the density, it's going to end up sort of spitting out a different file. I think it's probably spitting it out under here under Model Builder, which I forgot to open. So we're not getting the kind of cool show like we did last time. So we'll have to just give it a second here. All right, just done it all. If I now open the Model Builder, there we go. I've got the annoying name, but if we look in the geodatabase, all you'll see is this sort of last name. I now have created the density for assaults, for burglaries, for homicides, for rape, for robbery, and for theft. So again, a really cool tool that just basically emulates you doing selections, but instead of you having to select things over and over again and then run a tool, it's like a little robot behind the scenes is performing select by attributes and then running whatever operation that you want. So iterators are very, very cool. Certainly worth playing around if you want, with the fors and the whiles and looking at some videos. But I really think these are the two to really equip yourself with. Iterate features, and then sort of the ones that are similar to it, like datasets or rasters, that let you find a folder and run the same operation for every tool in it. And then what we just learned, iterate feature selection, which basically just mimics you running select by attributes over and over again from a single field value. And then for each of those subsequent selections, it performs the same operation.